Peace, peace, peace. Peace, y'all. Greetings, greetings, greetings. Oh, they speed. Okay. Peace to the family. Peace, love, and light. Oh, my bad. Somebody told me that was disgusting. Like, you shouldn't do that on live. My bad. Peace, 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 peace to the peace. Yeah, y'all. We're taking another tranquil walk through the neighborhood. All right. We're gonna bring you some of this peace and calm before we get into today's topics. Let's start off on a peaceful note. Let's start off on balance. You know what I'm saying? Let's express mine. So today's Wednesday. It's a hump day. You know, hopefully wherever you are, whatever you're doing it in peace. You know? Yeah. Hopefully wherever you're doing it in a state of peace. You're seeking balance. You're seeking some level of ma'at. You know what I'm saying? Look how beautiful it is, peaceful it is back there. Go pick you a berry off the tree and shit. You know what I'm saying? It looks very inviting. I want to go sit up there, but I got somewhere to go. Or else I would hang out on a ledge. I would just post up and roll something. But yeah, this is like my backyard. You know, I mean, it's my neighborhood. It's not like my backyard, but this is where I come to decompress, get a clear thought. You know what I'm saying? They got a stream over there that I normally go to. You feel me? I'm trying to turn my glasses on so y'all can see it through them. I don't know what the hell is going on with my metas. Yeah, shout out to Mark Zuckerberg. He finally got something right with these meta glasses. You know, finally got something right. But no, the goggles is dope too. I got the Quest 2s and I've been on the Quest 3s. VR goggles, that's a dope piece of tech. And it's very hard to ignore because it's the future. It's the now future. VR is the future. VR is the now. Right? And I'm sure if you don't know it already, hopefully you'll catch on. But there's so many things that you can do in VR. Once you do them, you can't go back to the normal shit. Once you go 3D, you can't go back to 2D. It's just not the same thing. So yeah, I'm gonna post up for a minute, get into this conversation with y'all. I was headed to the post office, but I ain't gonna make it in time, so I'll kick it on the log with y'all. You feel me? You know? Little doggy, look little doggy and shit. They walking a little doggy and all that. Look at the little doggy and all that. Look at the little doggy. They walking a little doggy in the neighborhood. Feel me? Shout out to the dogs. Shout out to the dogs. You know what I'm saying? I don't even want to pick up where I left off yesterday. Oh, he's live? Yeah. Every time I log on, there's something that brother's on live. So shout out to him. Hopefully he's serving the masses and giving them some high vibrational information. All right? Hopefully that's what he's doing. Word. Yeah, it's a lot going on. You know what I'm saying? I kind of want to just keep it in the pocket today that is high vibrational, because yesterday's conversation kind of flustered me. It was kind of crazy, and I don't really want to go back to that place. You know, for give or take, for whatever it's worth, I'm willing to just walk away from it. That's how crazy that conversation is, and I don't want to over engage it because it's not healthy. It's not healthy for my spirit. But it's almost like we really cannot have any conversation almost until we clear the air, because with whatever people's false premise is, that's kind of like where they stuck at. You know what I mean? That's what I'm noticing. And you want to have a full-fledged, full-throttle conversation with people about real shit, and you can't, because it's like there's a log in the road, and the log represents the old information. And the old information is the AI. It's the artificial intelligence. We were fed lies from grade K to grade 12 for 12 years. For 12 years enslaved, we were given artificial intelligence, meaning they were feeding us Western lies about Western society, right? All of this bullshit. And as a result, we're bound to be wound. We're bound to be wound up like robots to fight, right? Because they taught me something false about Europeans and colonizers, and they was totally taught something wrong about us in order to even have the gall to colonize us. And then they left us here, and then we're left to just fight. They taught us something false about Christianity. We was taught Christianity by people who were practicing Christendom. And Christendom is the militarized version of Christianity. It's militaristic Christianity because they was crusading against the Moors, and they never stopped. So we weren't even taught religion the right way. You know what I'm saying? We came over here and we was just taught lies about when we came over here. You know what I'm saying? Because some of us was firmly planted over here. And that's what their historical records say. You feel me? Nowadays, we are speaking like we're the Crusaders because there's a crusade that's still actively going on. And you can find evidence of it by the ideology that's present. So this nigga Columbus was saying that he was saying the earth was flat. And now these niggas are saying the earth is flat because the ideology that supports the crusade is more alive now than ever. And if you need evidence for that, you can go and look to see, quote unquote, Christian nationalism and what they're saying right now. They're speaking like this was 1492 and they was crusading. Shout out to Rhonda, right? Rhonda is an amazing friend of mine. Rhonda has helped me grow immensely in critical thinking, right? Because you can't be everything for everyone at all times. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes you only want to be right. But at the expense of what? You know? So, yeah. I'd rather be righteous than right. You feel me? Because some of us, in an attempt to do certain things, we don't have all of the facts. And our approach, as much as we want to say we don't have an agenda, you know, our heart is clean. We kind of always have an agenda. So you got to figure out what your agenda is. And then you got to investigate, you know, your approach to say, is my approach being informed and tainted by my agenda? You feel me? Or am I just being partial? I just want to see. I'm just in it for the truth. Wherever the truth is, wherever the truth leads me, that's where I'm willing to go, even if it's uncomfortable. So V8 told you cotton candy can't sharpen iron. Nope, it can only stain it. You know what I'm saying? Cotton candy can't sharpen iron. So I've been trying to upload this video. I got another one of my tracks coming out off the mixtape. I'll give y'all like a minute snippet. Let me know if you can hear it, because it's playing in my headphones. I mean, in my glasses. So I don't know if it throws the audio off. But let me know something. All right, we'll get back to it. You said y'all can't hear it? Okay. Yeah, I haven't, because these glasses are connected to this phone via Bluetooth. So everything that I'm saying or everything that I'm hearing, all of it is being done through these glasses. You know what I'm saying? I hear all of my audio. I take phone calls through the glasses. I'm doing everything through these glasses. So I've noticed that when it plays audio on Instagram, it's not as loud because they got all of these sensors over here that are regulating the volume. And because they don't want you to blow your ears out, it don't get as loud. Maybe let's say like the iPods might, right? So, still tweaking. No, what's that? Cut that out. Cut that out. Cut that out. Shit just started playing music. Can y'all hear me? Whew. That was weird. Can y'all hear me? Can you hear me? Can y'all hear me? Please, let me know. Okay. So, I wanted to touch on this. I don't exactly know what approach I should take towards it because, like I said, in this community, you can't even Satan shame. So it ain't like I could talk about something that's satanic and people is like, oh my God, we need to look into that. Y'all might be like, where's that? We pulling up. And I get it. Like, I came through the teachings of Bobby Hemmett and others in our community, Azariah. Shit. We used to hang out in the cemetery with Daoud, right? So when we were indoctrinated into this information or introduced to this information in this community, it was twofold, right? That's why we have to make the distinction about what there's this label called conscious community. And the conscious community shit is deceiving because everybody thinks like, oh, but they had consciousness before y'all, and Professor Griff was decoding, and Dr. Ben and them was here, and Brand Nubians was talking about information and shit like that. And that's not what we speak about. When we talk about the conscious community, in 2000 and 2001 out of New York City, that was the introduction of melanated people into occult sciences and deep dive in metaphysics, right? So everything that the people are talking about on the planet right now, what they call woke, what they call constitutional standpoint of people who are helping us break the spell of fear when it came to these terms. Our master teachers told us, how to see in the dark, and they're not going to hold your hand in that shit. They was helping people break them out of the spell of Christianity, which is a fear-based program that has you fearful of the dark, has you fearful of yourself, has you fearful of death, has you hating black, castigating it, thinking that it's a curse. That's what Christianity does. So a lot of time was spent breaking people out of that spell, so they could stand on their own too, right? And in order to do that, you have to take a lot of the sting and the fear out of these concepts like the devil and Satan and hell, right? All of this shit. So this conversation is not for everybody because it's very hard to understand how you can study something and research it and not fall into it. You could be in the world but not of it. It's very hard. That shit sounds like a slogan to some people. So, what Bobby was doing got attacked by Khalid Muhammad, and Khalid attacked Bobby, then Khalid died. You know what I'm saying? And that's not to say that Bobby had anything to do with the death of Khalid. It was a repudiation of, it almost seemed like it was an energetic repudiation of the old guard coming for the new conversation that had to live. You can't remove Bobby. You can't remove Phil. You can't remove the pill. You can't, none of the stuff that came, the wave that came into consciousness. That's why if you look at it, right, and it's no disrespect to the elder, but Sarnetta represented the old guard. He doesn't have a pinky toe into metaphysics. He never had a pinky toe into the world of the occult. He's RBG. You know what I'm saying? He's a Pan-Africanist, and he represents that slant of consciousness that was represented by Khalid Muhammad and the ilk of what that represents, right? They're dealing with history. They're not dealing with the mystery. They're not dealing with metaphysics. And they didn't have an appreciation or understanding of it. At least they was fronting like they didn't. You know what I'm saying? And that paradigm that they represented, it kind of hit a stalemate. I mean, shout out to all of my brothers that still bang out to the RBG and, that particular vibration, but it needs an upgrade. It needs to be updated. And we need to see some receipts. Like, niggas, a whole war going on out here. And people was running around calling themselves the general and shit like that and didn't have no motherfucking soldiers, never registered any wins, don't know how, nothing about infantry. It was colorful, it was cute words, right? Whereas the niggas who was studying the occult was actually doing shit in those realms, right? Their names was known amongst the spirit pantheon, if you will, for lack of a better term. And real waves were being made in those spaces, right? And there were breakthroughs and things of that nature. And now you see the replication of it by, a lot of different elements in our societies. These little niggas look like they're very much embellishing or embracing the occult, right? They're not necessarily embracing Pan-Africanism or militants, unfortunately, because you need a healthy mixture of both in order to balance yourself. I don't know what these little niggas is into, you know what I'm saying? But I'm willing to have a conversation to kind of figure it out because I'm uncomfortably seeing them crash out, right? I'm uncomfortably seeing them crash out on my page. And again, I'm not saying don't take this no way. I'm speaking about the wave that came out of New York that took the world over, right? And yes, y'all was represented by Sarnetta, but that's not one hell of a representation to stand by to say, nigga, we here now. That's not it. That ain't it. No disrespect to Unc, but that's not it. You feel me? Is this your king? Like, no. How are you? You are not going to be taken seriously globally with that level of leadership. And because it shows what you're missing. And you cannot be out here fighting a war with these pedigree of people if you don't know the occult. You know what I'm saying? Because you don't know what you're fighting. And again, it's no disrespect. I'm just saying this is the shit that needs to be updated and upgraded. At least the conversations that need to be had where people is not in a feeling and they taking it personal. Right? You cannot fight a whole war, my nigga, throwing sticks at motherfuckers that shooting projectiles and missiles at you. Right? On some you just can't do it. So that information is not equipped for the engagement, the level of engagement that we are in today. And I'll leave it there. I could say a lot of other stuff, right? But out of respect for our elders, I'll keep that information off of the internet, at least off of this page for now. But yeah, that wasn't an effective strategy alone, because you're being defeated and beat the fuck up on astro levels and ethereal levels, and it's not physical. And it's like, how are you intimidated by the people who they can't physically intimidate you? They don't have superior brawn. So what is it about the physical fight that you're losing that you can't get a handle on? Like, again, niggas got on boots and they're tightly strapped, but they ain't washing nobody up. There's no fights being fought. There's no wars being won. There's no campaigns. There's none of that shit. You know what I'm saying? There's no insurgencies. There's none of that. It's just dressing. It's just niggas dressing up. You know what I'm saying? It's cosplaying, right? It's niggas cosplaying what they thought was effective in the 60s and the 70s. And then when that shit got neutralized, the research wasn't done to say, well, how did it get neutralized? We need to study wins and losses, right? If we are appreciating military campaigns, if we're strategizing and approaching this shit like it's military and our lives depend on it, because there's still people languishing in jail today as political prisoners because their lives depended on it. You feel me? And that whole paradigm got washed up during crack cocaine. Because it's very hard to stand on stage and, take a step in terms of militants, and your neighborhood is a war zone. And your own children is the ones that are waging the war. You don't got a handle on your own babies, but you're talking about the man. Nah, son, he got you. You know what I'm saying? And we got to recalibrate and go back to the drawing board, because that was one hell of a chess move. You feel me? Kick the king out off the board, the chess board. Now you get straight to the queen, because that's what chess is about, nigga. Chess is about defending your queen. You take the king out the home, you get straight to the queen, you know what I'm saying? And his son is going sideways as a result. He can't even go straight anymore. That's what we're dealing with today, right? That was the protracted move that was played. And they pulled this shit off. It was only like 40 or 50 years ago. And we have been incapacitated in the war ever since. Because we don't even understand what happened to us. Nor does it look like we're trying to fix it, right? So if they incapacitated you to take you out of the home, you would think that the only thing that we should focus on as a society is how do we get back in the home? And how do we secure the home when we get back in there so there'll never be an interruption of the family dynamic? Because I don't want to fight next to no motherfucker who does not understand that family is everything. You know what I'm saying? Because that's a fight that I'm still internally fighting within myself. So I don't need to be reminded of the fucking weakness that we succumb to as a people. That's why I hate pimps. I hate pimp culture. I hate fucking crack. I hate crack culture. You know what I'm saying? And I loathe people who allowed themselves to be engaged in such low-hanging fruit. But I understand at the same time. And I empathize. You feel me? Because those were decisions that I didn't personally have to make. But some people, unfortunately, felt like they did. So I have to empathize. You know what I'm saying? My father gave me an ultimatum, and it was cut and dry. You sell drugs, you're gonna die, nigga. I'm gonna kill you. So that wasn't too hard for me to. The decision wasn't too hard for me to make. Right? But at least I had a father that I respected enough. I never seen him do no whole shit. That he still was able to instill the fear of God in me just with his voice. And didn't even have to come to the hands, because the nigga used to box. So we ain't want them 4 and 5 and 6 pieces from him. Them shits came like Sugar Ray Leonard, and talking about it today, I can still feel it. God damn it. Look, something, I said that shit and something just dropped on my lap. Something just whole dropped on my lap. Shit, when I said, this shit just whole dropped on my lap. I don't know what it is, but. So, yeah, I'm not better than nobody. I'm not holier than thou because, I still participated in my own level of devilishment. You know what I'm saying? I might have got away from one thing and I succumbed to something else. So it's not a holier than thou conversation. I'm just adamant about what I'm adamant about. And, these are the things that I identify with to say as brothers, as sisters, even, who have made these decisions, who have fallen into these pits, who have contracted, because it's all about a contract at the end of the day, and we're here collectively talking about getting duped into contracts, right? You got the musicians and the artists, you know what I'm saying? And we're looking at the repercussions of them contracting with entities, corporations, and people that they don't know, right? And being game goofy enough that we wasn't reading the contracts, we didn't get contracts reviewed, and we never knew what power a piece of paper had over our lives, right? And we still don't. And we still don't believe in the birth certificate and the social, and right? We still don't believe that this stuff has us indebted to slave systems. It's just too incredulous for us to believe, right? Still incredulous for us to believe. Okay? Even though we see these artists crying daily, all of these situations that they find themselves in came by way of them, right, engaging in a faulty contract. But to this day, you would think, especially in our community, that we would have institutions that read contracts for you. You think that we would have an AI that you could say, yo, you can call up this AI and put your contract in it, and it's going to highlight all of the places where, you know what I'm saying, you getting raped at. No pun intended, pun intended. Because jerking somebody out of a contract, that's a subtle form of rape, right? Being a scammer and jerking somebody out of their income, that's a subtle form of rape, right? You're raping somebody's pockets. Why? Because they are instilling a level of trust in you, and you're defiling that trust, right? They're opening themselves, they're busting it wide for you, and you're taking advantage of it, right? That's on the very subtle form, on the most subtle form. Yeah, don't it look like the dog on Drake's album? Oh shit, I said that and the leaf dropped, right? And it was a 5-pointed leaf, so this is a pentagram. So therefore, what we're looking at is a confirmation of a satanic symbol, because it's 5-pointed, it's pentagonal. Oh my God. Oh my God. And I'm getting spooked. So these are subtle forms of quote unquote rape, right? Because rape is the distrust that somebody is entrusting you with, right? You're breaking that and you're violating them. You're transgressing. And I was told that the only real sin is transgression. That's what I was taught, you know what I'm saying, in one of my esoteric schools. They said that the only real sin is transgression. Everything else, feel me, it is what it is. Because you do understand that Cain killed Abel before there was a commandment, right? You do understand that, right? You do understand how they baked that into the Bible. That, you know what I'm saying? That shit is not even considered sinful because the children of Zion have just killed 40,000 children and other people. So where's the sins at? Right? Because they'll tell you the church and state are separate, but the state will put a rifle in your hand when you're 18 and tell you to go and kill for your country, right? And then they say kill them all and let God sort them out. And then you come back and they're going to put you on some psychotropic. They're not going to send your ass to the cathedrals to get preyed upon. You don't go to the motherfucking confession booth and say that you just killed off 15 or 16 Iraqi children. No. they got some high grade motherfucking opium that you were securing over in Afghanistan. Yeah, they put that shit in some pills for you, and you're gonna be hooked on that for your whole life. Yeah, so transgressions, right? There's subtle forms of transgressions, and there's aggressive forms of transgressions that are not so subtle. You know what I'm saying? That are aggressive. So, damn, yo. I saying these are uncomfortable conversations to have, and I have to ask myself, what's so uncomfortable about it? You know what I'm saying? And it's like, damn, I don't want to be sitting around talking about issues of transgression. I don't want to speak about violations. I don't want to amplify that energy, but it's almost impossible to get to what we need to get to when we don't speak on the things that we need to speak on, right? As adults. Because there's a lot of conversations taking place, and they're even taking place on the internet around some of these incidents. And shout out to the young lady, Tisa Tells. I think that she's a very responsible replacement for Wendy Williams. I think that between Tisa Tells and Lovely T, I've been watching Lovely T for over 7 or 8 years now, right? I consider both of them conscious in their own right, in their own way. I consider their journalism responsible as well. So they have grown folk conversations, especially Lovely T, because she does deep dives and she gets into the esoteric occult when she does her deep dives. So she's very much a student of consciousness. She just has her own approach to it. And I think that those are some wonderful, beautiful spirits that are doing an amazing job getting the information out to a large swath of an audience. So I was watching Tisa Tells last night, and she was doing a commentary on an academics case. And she started playing the audio of when Act was online, and it was triggering to me because I seen Act online the day before when he got the video sent to him of somebody taking a dog to Pound Town, right? Family, trust me. Again, this picture that I got up right here, they mirrored the painting of King Charles that I put up yesterday that I was posting about. And before I even seen the comparisons, I was telling y'all who King Charles was, right? An individual was born on my birthday, right? Back in our Scorpio bag, doing the necessary Scorpio review because I'm not beyond reproach as a Scorpio, right? I do as best as I can to be expose myself, right? I tell y'all, all of the crazy shit that Scorpios is capable of, and I tell you some of the stuff that I've done, right? So we ain't gonna do that Scorpio holier than thou shit. Don't let no Scorpio come around you and be telling you other people's business and they not telling you they own. It just don't go like that, okay? This nigga's born on my birthday, so I know what he's capable of. You feel me? And I've been studying him since I've been a tot because we've been exposed to this shit. I'm very much a motherfucking student of Americana pop culture. I grew up on Princess Diana. This is the shit that they was feeding me on TV, and I studied it. I wasn't enthralled by it. I looked at this shit, and I did not like the pompness of the British society. You know what I'm saying? And then I did, my father was teaching me all of this shit, like who them people were, so I wasn't sold. I was always looking at them with a side eye. So I know what type of piece of shit Prince Charles was. I know what type of motherfucking pushover he was. I know how he was hating on Michael Jackson, talking about Dirty Diana. So, long story short, today they come out with the article that shows the comparisons when they mirror the image, the painting of him. Yesterday in my spiel, I'm telling y'all, I said, because he's born on my birthday, his Mayan glyph, right? Because we got a Mayan glyph. I can tell you my Chinese shit. I can tell you my Mayan shit. I can tell you my African shit. I've studied myself in all of these different systems to have a cohesive understanding of how do these things connect and compare, because there's no separation. So November 14th in the Mayan calendar means that we are the red electric serpent. A serpent is the dragon, okay? And it also is it's the Mayan signature that was carried by a woman called the Red Queen. The Red Queen was married she wasn't technically married. She interrupted the marriage of Jose Arguelles, who was Papa Votan, who's the reincarnation, right, spiritually, of the deities that were responsible for putting things in motion in the Mayan cosmology, right, and setting up the stage for the return of Quetzalcoatl. All of these shits is just prophecies, and these people, when they're born, they're indicators that the prophecy is being fulfilled or on its way. Just like when you see the white buffalo, just like when you see the white raven, just like when you see the white moose, just like when you see these particular animals that have been spoken of and prophesied forever, and they all show up at the same time, like now. Yeah, nigga, that's a clear and present sign. Fuck what you heard. They're not albinos, they're white. And that means that there has to be a change in society, because abnormalities in terms of animals, deformities cannot live in nature naturally. Right? There has to be something that's happening on the planet that's interrupting nature in order for an abnormality to exist in nature, because it cannot live sticking out like a sore thumb. They get rid of abnormalities in nature. There's nothing natural about an abnormality. Hence the fact, as it was told to me in my spiritual systems, right, on the continent, and I asked the elders, where did the white boy come from? And the way that they tell it, according to them, they don't go into the Yakub shit. They say that he was a deformity and an abnormality. And every time that they showed up, they were instructed to kill them. The women would have compassion on the child. So when they was instructed, because they was instructing, the women would have to go out, take them into the wild and leave them there or kill them. These women were motherfucking safeguarding them, right? And making it possible for them to escape into the wild. And then, as the story goes, they went into the caves and set up shop, and then they came back and they bombed on their fathers, right? So in essence, this is the same story later on that happens with the Moors when they go into Europe, and they create these amalgamated seeds, because when they went to Europe, they didn't bring their women with them. And I see, people is in my comments talking about, oh, the Moors were not just African, they were Arabs. Look, I don't have the time today. And when I'm saying I don't have the time, it means that I got thousands of videos on my phone. I don't have it queued up, and I'm not going to stop to go and look through my catalog of videos to pull the one up that I've been wanting to share about the Arabs of antiquity. And when we're speaking antiquity, not that long ago, up to the 1800s, they were always known as heavily melanated, dark complexion peoples, right? Wesley Muhammad wrote a whole book on it called Afrabia, where he speaks about where exactly, quote unquote, Arabia is. That's in Africa. And they were always identified and designated as heavily melanated people, down to Muhammad and the rest of them. Okay? So don't get in my comments and tell me about the Berbers and the this and the that. Nigga, I know about the history of the Moors, right? And yes, all Moors during all times were not heavily melanated. But just to say that there was an Arab invasion, you're not saying that to tell me that those Arabs that you're speaking about are the Arabs of today, because historically, that's not accurate. You can't throw it off ethnically just by saying it was Arabs. As if I'm supposed to look at my mind and see the nigga in the corner store, the bodegas in New York, because, everybody don't got Arabs in their corner stores. but it's not the same. Long story short, I want to get back to the narrative. The Moors did not bring their women with them everywhere that they went. They had amalgamated children, niggas who looked like Drake. That whole narrative, right? They was dentists out in motherfucking Spain running up in Sandras creating little Drakes. And the little Drake niggas sided with their mothers when it came down to it. They had more affinity for their mother and their mother's culture than they did for their fathers, because their fathers, you know what I'm saying? Let's just say that they wasn't the most accommodating fathers, right? They were in their mother's country for military conquest. Yeah, they were there for over 700 years, but they would go and come back. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, Papa was a Rolling Stone, so it ain't like that's where he was resting his hat at. He was getting in and he was getting out. You feel me? And a lot of these children suffered as a result of it. So that happened over here, right? And then, so I put the post up about the Huguenots. So understand what Moorish Spain was in 1492. It was like New York City. It was a cosmopolitan place. But they were not religiously suppressive of the people in that cosmopolitan. So Christians got to practice Christianity to a degree. Jews got to practice Judaism, right? But it was not the Ashkenazis. These were the Sephardic Jews. This is what they call Spanish Jews, right? These are the niggas that's olive, right? And melanated as well. So when they leave here, when they get kicked out, they get expelled from Spain. When the Christians who were waging war called Christendom against the Crusaders washed the Moors up on January 1st, 1492 in the Battle of Granada with Queen Isabella and King Ferdinand with motherfucking Christopher Columbus on the scene, right? When they defeated them, they told the Moors who survived, you got to get up out of Dodge. Or you got to convert to Christianity. And then that's what becomes the Moriscos. These are the converts. These are the little Moors. They call them little Moors, Moriscos, right? They convert from Islam to Christianity. But then they have a whole contingency already of their amalgamated children, light-skinned niggas. You feel me? Then they start sending different people different places. So the Huguenots, okay, which become a sect, they leave there and they spread. Some of them come over here, right, into the Americas and what have you. So I put the post up yesterday about George Washington coming from a black line of what you call the Huguenots. We still ask people today, why you think they call them Whigamores? And I'll wait. And you can Google. And especially if you come from the Caribbean or Africa or any of these places that have been impacted by British colonialism. Because I seen the goddamn Ghanaian woman with the wig on top of her motherfucking lace front yesterday. And I'm like, ain't y'all niggas independent? Why you still got the wig on then? Why you still got the wig on? Why you got the wig on? And then the people don't know the fucking history, but they put the history in this shit. It's called the Whigamore Party. Whigamore Party. And the goddamn wig is put on the head so you look like you got dreads or naps, tying your ass back to Kemet. But then you still don't get it. And it's right in your face. It's right in your face. So does anybody want to roll the dice and tell me why is it called the Whigamore Party? All right, brother. Anybody? So anyway, I did this in my last lecture. The Moors of Coburg, right? There's a you could Google it. Coburg Moor. So Saxon and Coburg is where they come from in Germany. When I say they, I mean the British Crown. The family, right? They come from Britain. I mean, they don't come from Britain. They come from Germany. They come from Bavaria, Germany. In Bavaria, Germany, the coat of arms of Bavaria, Germany, okay, It's called the Coburg Moor. You can Google it. I'll spell it for you. Do this shit while you're online with me, please, because I don't want to have a one-sided conversation. Please, for the sake of receipts, right? Go and look up the Coburg Moor, right? And then go look up St. Maurice, okay? Then go look up St. Maurice, right? And while you at it, you might even want to look up Benedict the Moor, right? You might want to look up Benedict the Moor, because when I grew up going to school and when they was hitting me with artificial intelligence for 12 years, they told me that, yo, in Europe, they didn't even seen Africans. That was some new shit to them. I'm like, how, Sway? How? How? How y'all even call yourselves? Not even get into it. Like, boy, man, look. So the Huguenots, right? The Huguenots come over here and they got mixed seeds and things of that nature. And I've been asking people, have you ever met any white folks with the last name Washington? Right? And of course, etymologically, it sounds like Washita, right? But let's stick to Washington. Have y'all ever met anybody named Washington? Okay, somebody said when they conquered, they beheaded a bunch of people, Moors, and the wigs they use are the replication of the way that they had their hairs dressed. It's a mockery. I agree. Right? But they still had to mock you. They still had to impersonate you to imply that they had the power or the judgment or jurisdiction. You feel me? So this aspect of who you are, I'm just saying it to explain to you that you was never in a subservient situation or position until the fall, until you fell. Prior to that, you always been up, right? So it shouldn't be hard for you to return to a place in your mind and your heart where you are perpendicular, standing on top of the land, always up. You know what I'm saying? You're not underneath nobody. How you looking up to somebody that's lowbrow? How are you looking up to somebody that's lowbrow? Right? They can't hold a light to you in terms of your intelligence and your contributions to humanity. But they've convinced you otherwise. And I know. Why do I know? Because it shows. You believe what they're telling you about yourself. You've bought into it at one point in my life. Probably I did. It was maybe for one day. But I think that I did. Just for maybe one day. But nonetheless, I probably did. Because they were selling that shit. I'd be damned if they wasn't selling it. Right? So, what would our history look like? You know what I'm saying? If we knew just a smidget of this. If we had a question. Because we talk about John Hanson being the melanated president of the Articles of Confederation. But what if they all was aspects of melanated people? Right? What if George Washington himself has some nigga in him? You feel me? So we're totally confused when it comes to race. We have no idea. You think just because somebody got some melanin in their skin that they have an allegiance to you. You ever met a motherfucking East Indian? Huh? You ever met an East Indian? Who really fucking hates themselves and can't stand your ass either? Don't get duped because niggas got melanin in their skin. Skin folk is not kinfolk. Especially the motherfuckers who have a level of amalgamation where they mamas, they mitochondrial, right, origin point is a European woman or a Caucasian woman. Or I don't even know what to call them anymore because these terms are so, you can't even stand on them shits alone. When you do the research, you like, was y'all even indigenous to the Caucasus Mountains? Or was we there too first? Is that where the Grimaldi man comes from? God damn it. I don't even know what to call these people anymore. You feel me? But And I'm not saying this in out of hate, or I may be a little facetious, but goddamn, y'all lied to me. You feel me? I'm out here attempting to operate in real life off of lies. That's a violation. That's a violation of that's a crime against humanity. To install me with malware and expect me to operate at a capacity where I can redeem myself, my people, my name, my heritage, my tradition, and my culture back. And I'm operating off of false information. So this is war, nigga. Right? You gave me some false intel to lead me astray so I could crash out. Then you can make money on top of that because you rid into your closet. Or you could put me back into slavery if you got me in chains. That shit is crazy. That shit is crazy. So we find ourselves, like I said, looking at this particular picture, right? And in this twin photo of King Charles, we see a depiction of an entity that very much looks like it's a Baphomet, right? And I'm not, again, I didn't come here to Satan shame. You feel me? If that's what you do, then that's what you do. I'm just saying that these people should not be putting on the front. And maybe they're not putting on the front. Maybe if they're saying, I'm a descendant of a Davidic bloodline or a Solomonic bloodline, maybe they're telling you exactly where these entities come from and where they exist, right? The church is a safe space for Satan. I'll repeat that. The church is a safe space for Satan, right? And Solomon also did a lot of work with those entities, right, that you would call demonic. Hence the fact that all 72 Goetias, or the demonic entities that are tied into the quote-unquote Goetias, are all connected to Solomon by way of the Solomon seal, right? The individual who received 666 talents of gold. Now, y'all can tell me that this shit stands for melanin and everything, and I hear you niggas, right? I hear you niggas. You feel me? But that's not how they giving it up. Because you niggas get real spooky when you see that number, right? Don't leave Solomon out of the conversation, right? Because that's the switchboard. That's where the road goes into a fork. And he dabbles on both sides, right? And if you play with the seals of Solomon, you know what I'm talking about. God damn it. This is a conversation I'm not willing to have with people who don't know anything about the occult. This is an occult-based conversation. Please, I'm going to keep it PG though, right? But the church is a safe space for Satan. So the only way that they're occupying the throne in Britain is they're saying that they are derived from the Solomonic throne. Do you know that they're sitting on the throne saying that they have a divine right to kingship based on them being part of the Davidic or Solomonic bloodline, like Selassie? Do you know that? Because that's what they're standing on. Hence the fact that they got a lion on the motherfucking coat of arms. There ain't no lions in Britain or Germany. They're sitting up there cosplaying you niggers who have abandoned your birthright or got, finessed out of it. But that's what's giving them the authority to sit up there and play king the way that they are, right? And the only way that they can do that, or assume to say that they have a Davidic or Solomonic bloodline, is because of their interaction with the Moors when they were in Germany, right? And niggas is so far removed from this history because we was fed 12 years of artificial intelligence. You can't even conceive. Then they gave you the Nazi shit, so you can't even conceive of melanated people running Europe. But then you ask niggas, so why was the Nazis flying Saint Maurice as the motherfucking patron saint for their war? Why was he flying as their patron saint? Why was Saint Maurice covering them? Did you do the research on Saint Maurice yet? Did you look up Benedict Moore? Did you call me on my bluff? Did you look up the Colbert morgue more? Did anybody do this shit? Or I'm just here sitting in the fucking forest just talking crazy. White folks walking around looking at me like I'm fucking out of it. Life Sciences, because I made a promise and a proclamation that I was going to go live at 4:44. And I shared that. I think I shared it with the brother earlier when I spoke to him. You know what I'm saying? So I had to do it while I can do it. I had to go live while I had the opportunity to do so because I got a small window. You feel me? So apologize to Red. Apologize to your audience that I went live at the same time as you. Good brother. You feel me? My guy. But that's what happened. So, yeah, none of this shit makes sense. Throw it all out. We've all been fed artificial intelligence. That's all we are. We are the consortium, right? We are the consortium of artificial intelligence because the mind will ultimately form the body. So if they fed us false information, what is our vessel? What is our temple? We got kinks in our armor just based on, right? And then form denotes function. So the form is fucked up and the function is off, right? Because of the fallacies that was given to you, right? Drilled in your fucking head for 12 straight years of false information. None of this shit is edifying the reality of who we are, what we've done, what we're capable of. You know what I'm saying? Or what is our destiny? Like, there's things that have been written about us. They've been written for us. And we can't get to it for whatever reason, right? Shout out to my brother Sharif Bey. Yeah, bring the bars back, man. I'm such a fan of people that really teach, you know what I'm saying? Get up on these platforms and bring it. And by far, that brother brought the receipts, collegiate and strategic. It was super studious. He did the homework. And these the brothers that I grew up with doing research in the early 2000s on my Morris shit. So I already know what kind of researcher this brother is. I know where he comes from. And I salute and appreciate his discipline. You know what I'm saying? He's a sensei in martial arts. So when you see him delivering on them platforms, yeah, that's martial artistry mastery put into information. Like he's taking that same discipline and applying it to information dissemination. And he's tackling one of the biggest pieces of them all, which is the melanated origins of UFOs. And shout out to my good brother Wesley, because, I definitely know that he kicked in the door and has been engaging in that conversation as well. And we need both of them, right? We need both of them. I'll just leave it at that. And we need more than just those two. But they're doing an amazing job thus far. And it definitely should receive our support as a community. I think that I personally think that people are scared to have the conversation. You feel me? And then me, I got to speak to myself about not taking things personal, because I'm like real fucking confused, because when I was having my contact experiences in 2010, I didn't get no support from the community. You know what I'm saying? I didn't get no support. Niggas tried to treat me like I was crazy. And I'm like, when have I been off? I guess I was tweaking a little bit because that shit was heavy on me. I was talking to fucking to motherships and making them shits disappear. I was doing things that I can't explain today. And people wasn't ready for it. And them niggas treated me like I was motherfucking weirder than I already am. So, and I ain't take it personal, but now everybody talking about fucking aliens. And I'm like, when I was telling y'all niggas how to communicate with the crafts, when I was showing you how to control these motherfucking ships, when I was telling you that these niggas said that they hear that they want to set it off, niggas was running the opposite way to have debates and conversations about philosophies and ideologies, and I'm showing them, I'm like, look, the real shit is right here. Y'all talking about religion. I'm like, in order to get to them saints that you niggas have in the skies, you got to get past the ships. You got to get past the entities, nigga. And they're here. They're not in theory. They're right there. Like, you can see them. You can talk to them. They'll fucking respond to you. What we doing? Oh, we ain't doing nothing. Oh, this shit is about conjecture. Oh, you niggas is... Oh, y'all want to debate. Okay. The whole summer of 2010. You know how far up we could have been if niggas wasn't scared? You know how far we could have... Now everybody's talking about aliens. And I'm like, that shit is cute. That shit sounds amazing. If any of you niggas had contact yet, could any of you niggas call a ship like Prophet Yahweh? Because I'm, I need to see that type of shit. That's what I'm into. That's what I do. But everybody's talking aliens. Okay. All right. That's what's up. But yeah, I absolutely, he's talking aliens. He's talking aliens in a way that we deserve to listen. We deserve to hear what he has to say because it's so well researched, and he has done the meticulous homework. He got the receipts, and he's willing to listen. So if there's something that he don't have receipts on, and you pull his coattail or his chain, he's gonna go and do the research. And he's not scared of these individuals. So you know how niggas be quoting these people, or they'll put a picture up of them. Nah, he reaches out to them. He makes the connection, the contacts in real time. So to let you know, everybody's accessible. None of this shit is bigger than you. None of it's bigger than you. So why we not stepping? Why we not running to it? Why are we not extra excited and engaged about, oh, there's actually, I could get extra support. There's some entities out there that look like me. They look like me. That are possibly us from the future. That may have some of my personal interests in their best favor. Okay. It's a very protracted, deep rabbit hole. So you have to be careful when you go down this rabbit hole, because it could be a deep rabbit hole. You got to know what's what, and you got to know who's who when you're going down that rabbit hole. I don't prescribe to any paradigm that comes along and has me in a subservient situation where I'm the slave to aliens. I don't buy into no religious systems where I'm the slave to a colonizer, European, Caucasian, whatever you call it. I don't prescribe to no paradigm period where I'm a fucking slave. Let alone some niggas coming from the cosmos and I'm forced to dig up shit. That's our genetic story. If we started off as slaves, nigga, how are you going to be God? You can't be both. Think about that. Yeah, they're coming back for the gods, but you can't be a god if you buy into the narrative, because there's different narratives that are floating around out there, right? I made it clear I don't fuck around with Zachariah Sitchin. I dispelled that stupid shit in the 90s when we was researching David Icke. And we had to put his ass on the motherfucking shish kebab. We had to skew him on the Barbie back then when he was cutting corners and attempting to hide all of our contributions to humanity. And it was just something in him where he could not tell our story. And every time he attempted to, he had to attribute it to reptilians. That's what David Icke did. So I've been knew about Zachariah Sitchin and how he fucked our narrative up. Right? And he has gross mistranslations of the Sumerian text. Shout out to A.A. Rashid. You got people in your community that'll wash these niggas up with the scholarship and the research that will clearly show you where the mistranslations took place. So people have ran with those mistranslations and they don't even know how crazy they look and how foolish they look. So yes, I don't fuck with nobody or no systems that would even suggest that our origin story happened here on this planet with us being slaves, digging gold out of the continent, that's a no-go. That's a setup. And you're not thinking this all the way through by saying that stupid shit. You feel me? You're not thinking this all the way through. You don't understand how that X's you out of the game. So that's a trap. That's an ideological trap right there. I don't fuck with that. You know what I'm saying? You might as well go back into religion for that. That's just me personally. So, yeah, salute to the fact that there's alternative versions of that narrative coming out. You know what I'm saying? Wesley presents it. Our brother Sharif is presenting his. I did not see the movie with Billy yet, so I cannot say anything about what he's presenting or how he's presenting it, because I did not see the Anunnaki movie yet. I seen he had a melanated version of an entity on the cover, but I don't know how that goes back to the origin stories, right? But I am not fucking with no origin stories that has me beginning as a slave. Once a slave, always a slave. You feel me? Until you have a galactic uprising on your oppressor or your masters, quote unquote. You're not gonna double stack and confound niggas epigenetic post-traumatic stress disorder from fucking slavery recently to tell me that shit has a resonance that even goes further back to our origin. Nigga, then you're never getting out of that. You're never getting out of that. You feel me? That's a no-go. That's a no-go. So, I mean, yeah, again, I highly recommend that you check this brother's information out, because it's logical, it's practical, it's well-researched, and he don't have no pony in the race. So there's no bias there. And that's what I need when I'm listening and looking at this information and I'm researching it. I need this shit to be unbiased. I need to be able to make decisions on my own based on the information, right? I need this shit to not really have a tinge of an agenda in it, right? That's how I want my information. And that's kind of what I pick up when he delivers his information. More so than Wesley. No disrespect to Wesley, but Wesley obviously has an agenda, right? It's obvious. I mean, and that's no disrespect, but I'm saying I don't see that coming from the information that the brother delivers. You know what I'm saying? Yo, shout out to my vegan pancakes. I'm just letting y'all know I ain't wasting no time with it. You know, I ain't wasting no time with it. I'm finna bring these vegan pancakes outside. So they had a picture on this painting of King Charles, and the picture had a monarch butterfly on it, right? And for you guys that have never, or you just might be getting into this information, right? The Monarch program was a CIA program that dealt with mind manipulation, right? Mind control, if you will, right? Monarchs. The Monarch program. There's a book out called Trance of America. What's it called? The Transformation of America by Kathy O'Brien, I believe is the book. So this was an individual who was part of their Monarch program, right, for majority of her younger years. This is where I first kind of started hearing about their engagement with children, and there was a credible survivor who was telling the tea, if you will, and giving it up, and that was Kathy O'Brien. And she really, really, you know, was telling on these people back then. You know, in the 90s when I used to read this stuff, right, I used to have all of these books and shit, and I read all of this information back then. I didn't have nothing to do with it. I couldn't do anything with the information necessarily other than come outside, I'd be the deepest nigga on the block. You feel me? But now, it's come full circle, and there are larger segments of community that are embracing this information and acting as if they want to do something with it. And the only thing that is credibly for us to save our children, right? But then that's, again, it's like what I spoke about yesterday. That presents you with a very unique challenge, especially as a parent. How are you going to introduce aspiration to your children minus them going the same routes that we were taught, right? If you could sing, they told you to go get you a record contract, right? If you was in the church, you played that circuit. There was a circuit, there was a lane that was built into the church for you. You feel me? And you would play that. They had their own version of a chitlin circuit. And then you come up in that shit. If you go secular, then you gotta go through the chitlin circuit to get you a contract. Make it to the big corporations, them companies, right? Up in New York for Raping You Records. This is where the Raping You Records shit first started. So that's funny. Think about it. Our people leave the church. Because I got to do my research on what the church contracts was hitting for. But that's interesting to see. Was the gospel contracts and the Bible Belt performers, was they getting Raping You records too? Because it's like they left the church and they got into secular music. They leave the Christian church and they get around Jewish mobsters in the music industry. And next thing you know, they selling their soul. Right? Because they're getting them in these weird-ass contracts that exist throughout the universe in perpetuity. So what does that mean? That your signature, according to this paperwork, which is another form of sorcery, right? You signing your nature away. And on that paperwork, it says that the signature extends to the entire universe forever. And if you don't think that that's form of a sorcery, show me a nigga who's gotten out of a contract. And, of course, you're going to have to preference and explain if they did, how did they go about it? And how much did it cost them? And how sloppy was it looking, right? And what did they retain in terms of their dignity afterwards that they got on the other side of that contract? But niggas are still, we signing terms and conditions on these apps every day. So the shit that our children, parents, and forefathers and forebearers suffer from, right? We're still voluntarily running to that shit today, even with the information. Because when I got into the Moorish information, they told us about signatures. They showed us how to secure your signature with UCC. Told us about contracts, right? Nigga, I just now, in the year of 2024, I'm just now getting a T-Mobile phone contract that's regular. Because I had not been doing contracts for like 15 years because of the information. All of the hidden shit that comes with contracts. Stop doing contracts, right? Stop doing contracts that require my signature. Long-term shit like that. I think I was running my shit like it was a prepaid or something. Just so I wouldn't have to sign no contracts. And that's not the best way to live. It's almost like a self-imposed prison. You feel me? You got to tiptoe around everything that you do in society so you don't fall into the traps. Right? Alright. Well, alright, so what would you call it? You don't want to call it UFO, what would you call it? UAE? Do we sign our soul contracts here? I don't understand. Soul contracts, You signed a soul contract to come here. And then when you get here and you start making pledges and shit like that, and we signing up things and we just don't know what we be signing. But long story short, these artists, they get into the secular music, right? Which is now the realm that's not protected by God. Because they say this entity, right? This guy, right? They say that and these are all different entities that we're speaking about. So Baphomet is not the devil's not Satan, and Satan's not Lucifer, right? All of those are different entities, and they mean different things. So this entity that we mistake for Satan, that we call Baphomet, right? Who comes out of the Knight Templars. Baphomet etymologically means the word Muhammad, right? And this is the information, the esoteric occult information that the Knight Templars got when they was in the Temple Dome in Jerusalem, fucking around with things that they didn't understand. Okay? That was left there by the quote-unquote Muslims or the Moors. So they say that Baphomet is a distortion, right? Or an anagram of the name Muhammad. I ain't gonna get into all that because that shit gets real touchy and, tramples on people's personal beliefs. So yeah, those soul contracts that we get into, you feel me? They're tied into shit that we don't necessarily understand, and people is getting caught up and tripped up as a result, right? And that's kind of where we see ourselves at, trying to walk backwards out of this shit. But we still don't understand contracts. We still haven't taken time out. You know what I mean? Nobody in this audience, I can't say that your children or yourself is any safer from being done wrong by a contract today than you were yesterday, because we haven't done anything as a society or as a community to address the abuse, right? So what does that look like? Yo, the abuse has been generational. You know what I'm saying? My mama got jerked, her mama got jerked, her mama got jerked, right? And the children about to get jerked. You feel me? That shit is a repetitive narrative. So you would think that we rebounded and calibrated to figure out how not to get jerked anymore. Have we sent anybody to school to learn how to read contracts? Do niggas even know how to write them shits yet? And there's whole smart contracts that have come about with crypto. Why are we not doing that? We still doing contracts, huh? And we have been done wrong by contracts. We've been done wrong by treaties. You know anybody that know how to write one of them shits? You know an AI that know how to read a treaty yet? Or do you know a spell on how to enforce a treaty? Why we ain't learned that? Why haven't we learned a spell that's baked into the treaty that says if you fuck this treaty up, God damn it, it's about to unleash the hounds of Hades on your ass? How about that? Why are we not writing those type of treaties and putting them in front of the colonizer and daring him to break it? You're almost hoping that he do. Because now the treaty says, nigga, if you break the treaty, I get Washington, D.C. back. I get Maryland back. I get this back. Why are we not playing hardball with these niggas? These niggas back against the corner. Right? Let me show you this shit. Hold on. Let me show you this shit. Let me show you how vulnerable these niggas are right now. And we over here playing. Right? Now we. Look, I'm playing. Fuck it. I said. Because my higher inclinations told me 2 years ago, it said, put the suit and tie on blue and get your ass in politics. Position for this presidential campaign. One, because I knew that they was bringing it back to the hood. But two, because I wanted to disrupt. And as the pillar, the blue one, I got to go in the matrix. So it was like, become a political operative, right? Go up in that bitch and figure something out. And it's not too late. It's not too late. I ain't missing. Look, I'm not missing the opportunity to disrupt this motherfucking selection coming up. Not missing the opportunity, right? But I'm going to approach it from a media perspective, and we'll be doing reporting. But what I do understand is that in the election year, which we are currently in, right, they need the melanated vote, and they're willing to do goofy shit in order to get it. So this is what they're saying in the news. I didn't pull the article up, but this is coming out of the Congressional Black Caucus. They're being targeted, right? They're splitting them. The Democrats are split in half. So this is going to be is it real is going to be the death of the Democrats. I'm going to tell it like that, right? Because this is the conundrum that they're in. And this is why you see Biden being goofy, right, and doing the flip-flop shit. So they're polling melanated voters, you guys, who they need in order to win. So they only want to come around y'all, right, and do soft polls. They want to do soft polls. They want to whisper to you niggas and find out what you need. They don't want to speak to you openly because a nigga like Tyreek might pop up and start talking reparations or some shit like that. So they want to corner you off and have conversations in private with you to see where your head is at. And then, so they're walking away from them conversations saying these niggas care about Palestine a little too much, which is a conundrum for us because we're bleeding heart liberals and Democrats, but we're mainly, our headquarters is in New York, right? So then they got to play the game like they're progressive. You feel me? Because they're bleeding heart liberal, they got to play the game like they're progressive, but then they have a contingency that are indebted to AIPAC, which is the quote-unquote the Zionist lobby. They got a contingency that is indebted to AIPAC, right? So what AIPAC does as a Jewish lobby is now they're going to the Republicans who are evangelical, pro-Israel, right? War hawks, and they know how to stir the pot politically. So what AIPAC is saying, they done split the Democratic Party in two, and then they went and split the Congressional Congress and Congressional Black Congress Caucus. So they coming for Hakeem Jeffries. No, is it Hakeem Jeffries? It's not Hakeem Jeffries. It's the other brother, Jamal something, right? It might be Jamal Bowman or one of them niggas, right? It's a melanated congressman coming out of New York that are attempting to represent their congregation and their delegates, right? The majority of which are also melanated, blue, liberal New Yorkers who say that they're anti-war, right? They're not. They're anti-war or they're anti-genocide. They don't like them. Yo, you got to stop that shit or you're not going to get our vote. And then when Biden come around, he's hearing the same thing. When he sent Kamala around, he's hearing the same thing. So he has to put a posture on when he's in public at all times, right? And the posture that he has to put on in public is that he cares about what you niggas think rather than what the handlers are telling him about how to care, because they're going to have to finesse you for your vote this year. I don't know how they're going to pull this shit off. I don't know how they're going to pull this one off. I don't even know how they're going to make it to the election. Let's say that. But when they get there, I don't know how they're going to pull this off. The nigga turned around one day and said, we're going to hold back military aid from Israel, right? Because they out there killing the babies. Posturing, right? Because he's in front of niggas. He's posturing. Then he turned around 2 days later and send the billions to them. And said, we're going to send y'all money for everything else but these bombs. Now, is it real depleted? All of their defense systems trying to defend themselves from Iran, who exposed that they're vulnerable and they could defeat them and end the war anytime, but they're prolonging it. Why? Why are you fighting a proxy war against Great Satan when you could knock Great Satan out with one blow? Fuck you. I don't want them to fuck my infrastructure up. Nigga, do you want to go to war or not? Are you niggas that, are y'all jihading or not? Are you in a holy war or not? Is these niggas not the great enemy? What the fuck do you go want to get a nuke for then? This is the shit that don't make sense. You want to get a nuke, but you got a hypersonic missile that you've already proven can penetrate their airspace, and then they don't got no munitions filled up for the Iron Dome, but you not pressing. I don't got no pony in the race. I'm just, as an Aries, I'm just sitting back and I'm taking notes and shit. I got my popcorn and I'm like, none of this shit makes sense. You know what I'm saying? Islam got more interreligious beef. Oh shit. Islam got more interreligious beef than they do outer religious beef, meaning that the Sunni and the Shiite got more drama amongst them than the Muslim and the Jew or the Christian. I'm a Scorpio. I'm an Aries rising and an Aries moon, right? Yes. It was an eagle or an owl. The shit was massive. I was like, yo, what the? But they said owls ain't out during the daytime. Had to be a hawk, not an eagle, a hawk. It was massive. It was massive. Yeah, you know, I don't have no pony in the race. I'm just part of the captive audience, and I'm just taking notes. I'm listening to what's being said. I'm listening to what's not being said. And I read a lot of different news, which means I read a lot of different propaganda. And they saying something different than they saying. Everybody's saying something different. And I'm like, how does the world keep up? Because these people can't tell the truth to save their lives. And it's like they're lying to one another, and they're lying to their own people, and they're lying to themselves. I'm like, how you gonna let another government lie to you, and everybody got each other under surveillance? Shit don't make no sense. But what I was saying all that to say that the Democrats is in a very vulnerable place right now because they need the melanated vote. They're gonna hold for the melanated vote. Bar none. They can't even escape it. There's nothing that they can do that has them not hold for the melanated vote. How they go about doing it or what concessions that they're willing to give, that's a whole nother story. But this is where lobbyists come in. This is where PACs come in. Political action committees. So that's kind of what I really was telling myself 2 years ago. You should get ready for. I was trying to convince Keys to run for office, but he ain't go for it. You know what I'm saying? He ain't take me up on my offer. I was gonna manage the campaign. We will run a stellar campaign. We would be there for the people. I told him every time these niggas fall in their face, that's when you get on your campaign. That's when you get on your stump. That's when you get on your motherfucking front of your lectern and you talk your shit. And you remind these people we got a plan. A 20-year plan to 2044. It's not going to get solved overnight, goddammit, but we could get started today. We could get started today. It's going to take us about 20 years to really put this shit in perspective and turn it around. Throughout the whole Pluto's and Aquarius run, we use all of the amazing astrologists in our community and cardologists and everything as advisors to give us all of the motherfucking confirmation and tidbits that we need. It would even be transparent to a degree. I mean, you can't let everybody see your hand, but this is supposed to be something that the community participates in. So it's like our decisions should not be decisions that we make. It should be decisions that are made on behalf of the community, but the community should have input, right? With 20 strong years, we can literally turn this thing around and take control back of this, not the planet, the universe. Because what comes with this plane of existence? The whole galaxy. That's what the aliens told me, okay? That's what they told me. They said that y'all niggas is holding the whole galaxy up. There's a motherfucking... You know when they had the ships backed up at the Suez Canal last year and all them ships was backed up? They said that's what it looks like in the universe because we waiting on you niggas to wake up and do something about your children. This is your problem, not ours, they said. This is your problem. They said if you don't solve this problem, you're going to be looked at as the bitches of the universe. If they got to intercede on our behalf, we're not going to be seen in a favorable light throughout the galaxy. You know what I'm saying? And the galaxy remembers who we are. The galaxy remembers what we've done. Look, like I said, bro, and it's the shit that I be talking about in my sermons, right? And again, to confirm and to, you know, shit, I don't go into doing what I do on Sunday service to step on nobody's toes. I don't want to put blood in nobody's mouth. Meaning that I don't really go into that thing to beat up on Christians. They're the best people I know. And they just so happen to be Christians. So Christianity or Christians always get a pass from me. I always give them the benefit of the doubt because of my relatives, right? I'm doing this specifically for my grandmother and my step-grandmother because they were the most purest women that I know. And they loved the Lord. And I have a tendency to believe that because of their relationship with the Lord, you know what I'm saying, it had a lot to do with the genuineness of who they were. You know what I'm saying? Like, they were very special women. And my auntie's like the best, right? You know, my Aunt Kyle, I always speak about her. She's my favorite aunt. You know what I'm saying? And that shit keeps them grounded. That shit keeps them centered. That shit keeps them focused. It is their discipline. It is their fulcrum. It is their anchor. It is the thing that keeps them focused to be there for everyone else that comes out from out the wild. They come, you know what I'm saying? When they got to come to them, they take care of them. They got compassion in them. You know what I'm saying? So I do believe that there's some level of a redeeming quality somewhere in there. You know what I'm saying? But I speak about the fact that if there was high advanced civilization 70,000 years ago, you got to throw all of that shit out, right? Because it's not true, right? Somebody got the drop on God before he got here to set up shop. And we already know that. Because you could look at the Babylonians and tell it. You could look at the Cometians and tell it. You could look at Indus Kush and tell it. You could look at the Chinese and tell it. And then you can come over to the Americas that them niggas said that they didn't know about. And you could tell it that God, the nigga must be blind if he didn't know that there was a whole Americas over here. There was a high civilization. The niggas had their own cosmology. They knew mathematics. Who the fuck is this omnipresent, omnipotent God that only was operating on one half of the goddamn planet? Shit don't make no sense. Yeah, they got a record in Indus Kush in their books of them being here 70,000 years ago with high technology. 70,000 years ago with advanced technology. Even if it was 7,000 years, nigga. Advanced technology that they were writing about. You ever read the Emerald Tablets? You ever read the Bhagavad Gita? Nigga, who writes like that? You don't start writing like that. You don't just pick up a pen and start writing like that. You had to be writing for thousands of years in order to master the poetic prose, nigga. I'm a writer. I know that you just don't, as a child, as a baby, I ain't gonna pick a fucking crayon up and start writing complex goddamn narratives, nigga. Just speak about flying ships and nukes and shit like that. That's not gonna happen. Somebody's lying, and I'm not surprised. Somebody's lying, and I'm not surprised. So they're feeding us artificial intelligence. The baby position, you're not qualified to teach me, little nigga. Right? Just let me be dumb if that's the case. Let me be the person and the thing that you be telling these people that I'm supposed to be. Yeah, them niggas is ignorant. They don't know a motherfucking thing. I bet you I know more right? Untampered with. Like, if you just leave me alone, put me in the wild, I'll retain more of my fucking memory than the bullshit that you feeding me that I have to goddamn swallow by force. Pause. Let's do that. But all of that artificial information that you've been feeding me, all of that artificial intelligence that you've been, loading up in my brain like malware, and I gotta spend mad years attempting to heal from the trauma of being fed lies? No. That's not a situation that I would want to wish on my children or my children's children. So something has to be done, and we have to do better. And I feel that we're doing it. We're making our minds up. We're making proclamations, invocations out into the universe, right? To invoke, that's one of the most powerful things. I put the article up the other day about they wanted to start their invocations in the state legislature with a satanic prayer. This is what's going on in your country. They told you this was a Christian country. I know better. But they told this to you. They fed this to you. They told you that they founded this country on Christian principles, and you ain't seen evidence of it yet. And why is that important? Because we are in the throes of a culture war where these same people who they're finding are engaging in all sort of illicit activity. They're attempting to present themselves like they are pristine Christians, and they love the Lord so much, and they want this country to be a theocracy, and they're having culture wars. And you know who the focus of their culture war is? Do you know who the focus of the culture war is? Who are they warring against in this culture war? They're an amorphous term called woke. And whoever goes under the banner of wokeness is the people who they want to engage on the battlefield of the culture war. Right? So I'm just saying, I be bringing this information up and utilizing these terms and these opportunities to have a conversation with you, because I don't want you to get caught out there on the battlefield not knowing what that you're being swept up in something called a culture war as we get closer to this political season, right? And they're going to make, the Democrats are going to be in a very weird place if we end up in a culture war, and the culture war is mitigated on Christian nationalism. And I'm saying, the Democrats is over there and they loose goose. They don't have a moral authority. They don't have a position. They're not for family. You know what I'm saying? But us as melanated people, right? We're naturally conservative. We're naturally conservative, or are we progressive? We are conservative people. Think about Nana and them. They're traditionalists. They don't want to change much. They tell you if it's not broke, don't fix it. You feel me? We're not that necessarily fluid in our ideologies for the most part, right? Especially if Nana and them grew up on the book. If they grew up, on some Christianity, they're conservative with their Christianity. They're not fluid with their Christianity. They're not necessarily progressive. So where does that leave the quote-unquote people at? Right? Because the Democratic leftists want to go progressive, especially when it comes to quote-unquote Palestine. That's the conversation that's going to make all of this kind of weird come election time. Right? But if you are apolitical and you just understand the importance of being there for and with the people, right? They're going to bring the bag to the hood. They're going to bring the bag to the hood. Us, politically, we're going to be covering this campaign from the media side, intensely come summertime. Because this is a situation that can't be overlooked. This is history in the making. It's a historical moment for our country, for our future, and it falls on the shoulders of our children, right? Somebody has to be at the gate. Somebody got to have the eye on this shit. You know what I'm saying? Somebody has. There's a lot going on. There's a lot going on at all times. But look, my phone is blowing up. I got shit going on. I got things I gotta do. Vegan social. I should be a vegan social. You guys is in Marietta. Pull up. We got a team out there. They got food at the American Legion. Damn, which one is it? 239. If you're gonna be in Atlanta, Malcolm X Fest is strong end. We'll be there, right? At the Malcolm X Fest. Shout out to Vegan Fest. That's gonna be at Black Wall Street. I think we're doing something on Sunday with the brother at the YG Cafe, Dr. Julius. And I know Saturday night, which is the weekend of the Malcolm X Fest, Saturday night, Professor Griff is going to be doing a performance show. It's going to be a DJ set. It's 3 DJs, him, Paradise Gray, and Minister Server. All right? They're going to be doing their thing out here in Atlanta. All right? So pull up if you are in the A-Town. It's going to be going all the way up. And, yeah, I'll see y'all then. Peace.